this car for 500 miles of break-in, keeping the RPMs under 3,000 RPM, going easy on the clutch and stuff. But all of that time is giving me some time to reflect on my thoughts of the car. And so far, my first impression, it's loud. How loud was that, Mark?
Dude, that was friggin' loud. Turn back around. Let me measure the dB at wide open throttle. Whoa. Dude, turn back around. Check this thing out.
What do we get?
Bro.
How loud? What number?
You'll never guess.
Is it over?
Do you think you're louder than the RX-8?
I kind of do. I kind of do. Is it louder?
It's not louder.
Really? What is it?
I was surprised. It is 110.
110. Okay.
110.
Like right in between RX-8 and S2000.
Yeah.
That's not that bad. Kind of want to try again and see if I can beat it.
I
was at a higher RPM. That was like 4,000 RPM going by.
Okay, well.
You want me to try it at 3,000 RPM under more load, maybe?
I mean, we could try. Wow. Doing a disservice to Mustang owners. 111.2. Still not louder than the RX-8. It's because of the distance that my phone is from when you measured the RX-8.
Oh, was I closer with the RX-8?
You were closer with the RX-8.
How close were we?
Well, he wasn't on the other side of the road.
So we're gonna do it again. That's what you're saying.
Unless you want to give this up to another Mustang owner.
No, I think we gotta do it again. Yeah.
Okay. It's hard not to do. He still didn't get it. 111. That's sad.
That was it. That had to be it. Did we get it? Oh, son of a gun!
How do you lose 2 points of a decibel?
I'm losing to a car that has a 1.3 liter.
That is crazy.
All right, it's the second loudest gears and gasoline car. The best thing about this car is power, and I feel like I can't use it on these tight, twisty roads.
I want to be able to enjoy it without like thinking I'm gonna die going through these corners.
So you're gonna think you're gonna die all the time because you're in a Mustang.
Yeah, that is true.
Especially downhill.
Oh my gosh.
I want to hit the gas pedal, but there it goes a little bit.
It's definitely not like the Civic.
No. The Civic you have to be on throttle all the time. This, I want to be on throttle all the time, but like on these tight, twisty roads, I feel like I can't really make use of the horsepower.
Yeah, I don't think we're making great utilization of the horsepower here.
Yeah, let's find some more appropriate roads for this car. The open road.
Open road. Back into it, I see.
I'm gonna get in trouble with this car.
Dude, yeah, I'm glad I'm not driving it. So what kind of fuel mileage has this thing been getting?
Oh, about 7.4 kilometers per liter. That's what the dash says. Oh, sorry, it's like 3.7 nautical miles per quart.
Okay, that's not too terrible.
Yeah, it's not really about the gas mileage, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you bought this car for the fuel mileage, you kind of bought the wrong car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, time to get back on the road.
It's easy to measure a car by its stats. This car makes about 400 horsepower, it weighs about 4,000 pounds, and it goes 37 football fields per pint of gas consumed. But a car is much more than that. A car is about how it makes you feel, the emotions, the chemicals that it releases in your brain when you put your foot down or turn the wheel. Comparison is the thief of joy, and if you compare this car to other cars, it can stifle your joy with that car. Cars won't make you happy if you find
your identity in them. Cars won't make you happy if they're just an avenue to public recognition. Cars won't make you happy if they always have to run right or make the most horsepower.
Ah, who are we kidding? Let's see how much power this thing makes.
I mean, it felt fine. It looked like it was running a little bit rich, so I think we should do it again. I think we'll get more power out of it. It says 404, I'm pretty sure.
Ah.
Well, we were way off.
Yeah, only
3
405.
poles and only made 405.
That's what you get when it's not tuned.
That is what we get when it's not tuned. I mean, we need to get it tuned. I'm sure we'll make the power that I said that we would make easy.
All right, well, coming soon, we're gonna get it tuned. But until then, we've got to fix the handling on this car.
That's right, even I drove it, and the car feels very floaty, very disconnected from the road, and let's be honest, the wheels can, you know, use a better fitment.
That's true, there's no adjustability on these, man.
But more importantly, you're not gonna do one of those weird ad things, are you?
Weird ad thing, what are you talking about?
You know, when you get in a character and be like, oh, this is
the Fortunato 500 coilovers. The factory suspension on the car feels as nervous as a cat in a room full of rocking chairs. The suspension on here right now is about as compliant as the rear end of my Kubota. I'm talking about dampening that absorbs the bumps in the road. These suckers use fancy technology like the high-flow digressive pistons to optimize the perfect balance between performance and comfort. Each dynographed prior to sale to ensure body-to-body variance of 5% or less. You know, witchcraft. And wouldn't you know it, these here coilovers from Fortunato are based and built right here in America. In fact, they're right in my backyard. I've seen them put these suckers together.
Probably need to get some new tires now.
Well, according to this wear bar, you have like maybe 2 millimeters left. I think it's time for some new tires. All right, so we got BMR lowering springs on this, and surprised to see that we have the stock Pomoco shocks on here. And more than likely with lowering springs, they are probably blown. So let's go ahead and replace it. We can make this thing better. Gonna have to use this top hat for Fortunato coilovers.
Ooh. That's shocking.
It's very dirty. Oh, you were being funny, dad joke, haha, because it's a shock.
Yeah.
All right, well, it looks like somebody went ahead and put in a camber arm already for us. So we have the adjustability there. Also did the toe arm for us, which is nice. And then we also have this subframe brace. So these are pretty nice things that I already have, you know, on the car, so we don't have to do them. But let's go ahead and start getting this brace off so that I can start lowering the subframe down and putting this these new springs in. Maybe I should have taken that off too. And just like that. Actually, it wasn't that bad. Easy peasy. All right, we're gonna go up and over. Gentle, gentle, gentle. You know, I was kind of complaining because I've never had to drop the subframe before, like to put springs in. I thought it was gonna be very difficult. It's actually, it wasn't that bad. Obviously, okay, I got the lift.
You had to say something. You said something before we're done.
Yeah, I said something before we're done. I'm that confident, okay? It's not even touching the perch yet. Yeah, we gotta go up with that. All right. Subframe is torqued. Hey, let's see what it looks like on the ground.
Oh. Oh. Keep going. Are you all the way down? That's pretty low. What do you think of that? I think it looks pretty good. The camber needs to go in. Like it needs some more camber.
I've saved the worst for last, the front. Because there's so much that needs to be taken off in order to change out the suspension. Like these brakes.
We're gonna take the brakes off?
Yep, we gotta take the brakes off.
Are you serious? We just put the brakes on.
Yeah, I know.
You're kidding.
I'm not. I wish I was. I'm a wheel now, or a brake.
Hey Mark, that's really cool.
That is really cool.
It's a boy.
It's definitely smaller, so we'll have more wheel room. Again, this is a factory strut. And then, yeah, these are just lowering springs. All right, so now I'm gonna take my measurements here on this coilover, transfer it to the other coilover so that we have a kind of an even playing field. And then after that, I'm gonna go ahead and reassemble everything.
So obviously, since these tires are different brands and the rear is kind of worn, we're gonna need some new...
No, whoa. You're not gonna do that thing again, are you?
Like I was saying, we're gonna wanna replace these with some new...
Can you at least answer my question before you continue?
I went out and bought some new tires, and they are...
The Continental DWS 06. Tires on the car right now ain't ever worked a day in their life. I'm a Mustang owner now, which means my ability to avoid civilian casualties while behind the wheel has plummeted like a cinder block in a pond. We need something with a heck of a lot more capability if I want to avoid my mugshot being on the nightly news. So, we got us the Cadillac of tires, Continentals. These right here are the DWS 06s. It's built for all elements, whether it's dry, wet, or snowing. And they come with 50,000 mile limited warranty, which means I'll be covered for years of driving, provided I can restrain myself from laying down some smoky 11s like there ain't no tomorrow.
Gotta get that running start. Bing. Oh, that was so easy. Actually, it was really easy. All right, next up, we got the 305. I already got the 285s on. They were easy. They were a cinch. Like, I didn't even sweat in this shirt. You could see that, right? Facts. Now we got the 305. This is gonna be even easier. Easy. All right, so we got the new Continental DWS 06 Pluses on. Now we're gonna get them on the car. Slammed. It's not even off the lift yet. I think we have just compressed the helper springs. I think if I went up maybe 3 or 4 turns on both sides, it should be good. I mean, I don't know, I kind of like this height on this side, but also I'm still on the lift, so it might come down a little more. All right, so I gotta raise it up. Sorry, I know you're disappointed. All right, guys, I think we finally got ride height to where we want it, and it's, you know, a little bit lower than it was before, nothing too crazy. And on the fronts, what happened was the wheel kind of tucked in a little bit more. So we're gonna go ahead and throw a 3mm spacer in, just to kind of bring it back out. That nice flush right here. I like it.
A car with good fitment is to be admired, and I feel like we've achieved that now with these Fortunato coilovers and Continental tires. No more wheels being lost in the dreaded wheel gap, and now we have flush fitment. Although this car does somehow make a 20-inch wheel look like Power Wheel tires. This adventure into American muscle has already been a very eye-opening and loud experience, with much more potential to come from this 5.0 Coyote, and now having the ability to handle better is the cherry on top. What do you think of this fitment setup? Should I go more aggressive, or is the Mustang already looking menacing enough? What do you want to see next with this car? Make sure you're subscribed, and share this video with a friend if you want to see more Mustang content.